Retain gang, what's poppin', man? This your boy Tay, back at y'all again with another video. Peace, love, and abundance. I appreciate y'all for watching. If you want to support the channel, I'll leave all my links in my description. Make sure y'all check out the Retain gang community. It's a live space. We do weekly calls, and we get together and build and help each other out outside the comment section, man. So if you're interested, tap in with us. But I want to talk about a few lessons that I learned after 60 days of isolation. Being to myself, not going out, not talking to anyone, but just being fully locked in on my purpose. And this was right after I left my job in 2021. I took those few months off to really find myself. And I was entering a new space in my life. This was new territory. I had never done that before, so I needed that time away to just try to find myself and where I fit in again, right? And one lesson that I learned is how not to depend on people so much, right? Because when you depend on people, you're always going to be let down. This is where a lot of trust issues develop from, because you put so much trust and dependency on other people, and that's not their job. Their job isn't to be there for you. That's your job. You understand what I'm saying? So for you to put that pressure on another person, for them to have your best interest at heart, that's a little selfish. We all have to focus on ourselves. I'm not saying that you can't have a person that you depend on, but don't put that pressure on themselves. You always got to make sure you got you first. Growing up, this is a lesson that I've always had to learn. I've always been put in situations where, hey, you keep on depending on these people, you're going to be disappointed every time. I moved around a lot as a kid, right? I never stayed in one state. I never stayed at one school. Every time I got comfortable in one place, here we go, we're moving away. Or I get friends, make new friends, we get comfortable, that friend is moving away, or I'm moving away. Even when it comes down to sports, I've had many different coaches, many different mentors, and every time I got comfortable with them, I started to gain trust in them. They got a new job, or I'm moving away, or I'm graduating high school, going to college. So now I got to rebuild that trust with somebody else all over again. And that's happened to me all throughout my life. And that used to bother me. I ain't gonna lie, man. I used to sit there and ask, why does it keep happening to me? Every time I find my place, it always gets shaken up or it gets destroyed. That was a big trigger for me for years. But then I finally realized that this was the Most High telling me, look, this is what happens when you have dependency. You need to learn how to love yourself, right? You have to be your own best friend. This is what isolation taught me. When you depend on people too much, you're always going to fall short. All right, and I want to give you guys that game, because a lot of us, man, we're afraid. We're afraid of losing people in our life. We're afraid of not having our friends there for us or family there for us. And rightfully so. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing wrong with feeling that way, but understand this, and I want y'all to take heed to this message. You are the only one that's been with you your whole life. And I don't care if it's your mom, your dad, your brother, sister, your girlfriend, whoever. They can say they care about you and they love you to death and they always be there for you, but no one will ever be there for you like you. You are the only person in this world that cares about you more than anything else. And that's a fact. Because nobody knows what you're going through on a day-to-day basis. They don't feel what you're going through. And a lot of us, we don't tell people everything. You let people know what you want them to know, but they don't know everything that's going on inside of you. And vice versa. You don't know what's going on with other people. All right, so isolation taught me, man, not to put that pressure on other people, to depend on them to be there for me so much. That's not their job. All right. Now, another thing isolation taught me is that too much isolation can be a bad thing. All right. And I want you guys to listen to this, because we talk about isolating yourself and being by yourself, and it gets you focused, it gets you on the right track, on your purpose. Yeah, it does that. But understand this, that's only for a season. Isolation is meant to be utilized for seasons, not for the rest of your life. We are social creatures, man. We like to be social. We like to make connections. That's why we're here. Your soul loves information. And the only way you gain information is by communicating with other people, right? You soak up knowledge, you have experiences, and that's what you take whenever you leave this life. You take all that information. So there's nothing wrong with being social, all right? When you are isolating yourself too much, you close off your sacral chakra. All right, that's your second one. And this is dealing with connections. It's dealing with creativity. It's dealing with your sexual energy. All right. So when you go too long with isolating yourself, what you'll do is you'll close that energy off, and now you start to get depressed. You start to lose motivation to live life. And what I noticed was my creativity started to suffer, because it wasn't fun for me anymore. When I isolated myself too much, I wasn't enjoying myself. People give you a purpose. Because think of it like this, if you were just on this earth by yourself and nobody else, like I Am Legend, you seen how he was, you know, Will Smith in that movie, man, he was going crazy, talking to mannequins and everything. Because we are meant to be around other cells, other souls. You know, our cells in our body, they communicate with each other through energy or through light, you know, photons. So we need to be around each other. That's how we grow, we build. You know, that's how we gain wisdom. That's how we learn about ourselves. We are reflections of each other. So it's only for a season, right? Just like a caterpillar going into its cocoon. It don't stay in that cocoon forever. Eventually it has to break out, become a social butterfly, flap its wings, you know, and start living life again, getting out here and exploring. So isolation is cool for a time period, but you want to make sure you have balance in your life. What isolation is going to help you do is disconnect from all the wrong things and wrong people. And that way you can get back on track with who you are by default and start attracting the right people into your life. Isolation is meant to change your algorithm. That's it. To lock back in, that's it. It's not meant for you to do that for the rest of your life, man. You're going to make yourself miserable. You see? So take it from me, guys. The isolation is cool, but make sure you have a balance. All right? Don't deprive yourself of a human experience, because you are a soul having a human experience. And our human experience is how we grow as souls. Okay? You can't have one without the other. So the third lesson that I learned from isolating myself, and this one was a game changer. This really opened my eyes up to just the lifestyle that I was living before. And I noticed that I didn't need as much as I thought I did. You know, I was over-consuming, overindulging in everything. And I noticed when I started separating from people, relationships and all that, I wasn't spending as much money. I wasn't eating as much. There was a lot of things I was doing beforehand that I wasn't doing anymore. And it made me realize that a lot of us, we spend money, we do things that's not really in tune with us, but because we feel pressured to do it, because we want to fit in with others. You know, a lot of us, the reason why we chase women, it's not even because we want to. It's because we had that pressure in high school. You know, you can't be a virgin, or you're not cool unless you got women. And a lot of us, we held on to that, you know, that pressure, that social pressure, and we took that through the rest of our life. I'm not a man, I'm not cool if I don't have women. So psychologically, you started chasing women just off of that, right? We all went through that pressure, man. Y'all let me know in the comment section. You've been through it just like I have. It wasn't cool to be a virgin, but you felt pressured. So when you isolate yourself, you're able to let go of that pressure and realize a lot of things you were doing wasn't even your own ideas or your own ideology. It was because you had that social programming from your younger days, trying to fit in, trying to be validated by people, right? Man, I saved so much money when I was isolating, right? Because I was eating the same thing every single day, right? I know when I was in a relationship, I would have to take us out to eat. I always had to find new ways to make the relationship or spice the relationship up. And what I learned about myself is I don't need a lot. I can go without. I can eat the same thing every single day, and I'm cool, as long as I'm content. But you'll notice, like, even with friends too, like, if you go out with friends, let's say you're in a group, you can't move how you want to move because you got to be with the group. So let's say y'all all out having a good time, but you're ready to go home. You're tired, right? You can't just call off the group meeting, the group fun, because how you feel, right? Because that's selfish. You got to move as a unit, and vice versa. Like, so it's just certain things you realize when you isolate yourself, man, that, I was moving based off of other people's energy, not really my own energy, not really my own wanting or doing. And you free yourself, like I said, from those attachments and that dependency. When you're around a circle of friends all the time, you become dependent on their energy, their validation. You even start to mimic the way they speak, the way they think. Y'all become a hive mind. And that's cool, but at the same time, are you losing yourself in the process? We all have our separate mission on this planet, in this world. And sometimes being around friends and people too long can make you lose the reason why you're here in the first place. You forget who you are. So you'd be surprised how much you don't need, right? We overconsume and overindulge things just based off of programming. We think this is what we need. But you're not going to know that until you put yourself in a situation where you cut off any and everything from you. Isolation is a total reset. I'm cutting all these cords, right? And I'm bringing my energy back within me. I'm retaining my energy to find myself again. You ever notice when you've been MIA for the longest, you ain't been outside, you ain't really been talking to people, you ain't been in the mix, and then you finally come back outside and everybody looking at you like, damn, bro, you good? Where you been at? You look different. Your glow is different. Like your energy, I can see it, bro. You vibrating, right? And that's because you gave yourself a chance to retain all your energy. You left your energy, you was giving your energy away to so many different people that your battery was low. So when you come back outside now, man, everybody looking at you like you a gold trophy or something. Like you just, you lit up. And that's the point of isolation. Total reset. So with that being said, if y'all need to speak with me, I do one-on-one consultations. Let me know in the comments section what y'all thought about the video and what's your experience with isolation. What's the longest you've isolated yourself? All right. Peace, love, and abundance. And I'm out.